How did you turn your life around? When I was a teenager I was homeless. A lot of places wouldn't hire me because I had no experience or interview clothes. I went to the Board of Education and begged the our lady to give me a chance at any job. I told her I'd scrub the school with a toothbrush if they paid me. They made me a general sub for clerical. I took a call for one of the bad neighborhood schools that some others turned down. Walked across town to get there every day. I had to start walking at 4:30 AM to be on time. I wore dress clothes from a church mission that were way too big, but I did my best. After 4 months they gave me a long-term position, then a permanent one with benefits. I saved up enough for an apartment. Finding a landlord okay with renting to an 18-year-old homeless girl was hard, and started college. I haven't been homeless a day since in the last 15 years. I even have a house now. Amazing to hear this. Probably weird to hear this from a stranger, but I'm proud of you. People like you motivate me. I get so happy for people as well. After being laid off from my last factory job, I suddenly found myself on the streets of Toronto in the early 1990s with a grade 9 education, no money, no friends, no job references, and not really any family. So what did I do? Found an unbelievably dirty crappy crawl space basement apartment. Applied for welfare. Stopped drinking and smoking and anything else unhealthy. Got a gym membership and went 4 hours a day. Jogged 5 miles every morning, weather permitting. Enrolled in an adult high school. Ignored everyone and everything that would be a distraction. Got my high school diploma with honors in 2 years. Applied for university. Got in. Moved to a different city and spent 4 years getting my BA in philosophy because I like to think and solve problems. Applied to a graduate program and spent the next 10 years getting my MA and my PhD. Then spent the next several years as a professor making good money and having lots of fun. Won't say how things are going now because I got cursed with poor health etc. and so I'm no longer working. I'll just say that I'm happy now and know that I would have ended up either dead or in jail if I hadn't done what I did all those years ago. Sooner or later everyone has got to take their life seriously. I work in healthcare and the difference in people who haven't taken care of themselves is astounding. 40 tends to be the breakpoint I notice when your bad decisions start catching up with you. I don't know, I just turned 30 and I feel like my life is over, even though this year I managed to kick 30 addiction, stop eating pizza and fast food entirely, and most recently started going to the gym and now weigh less than 200 pounds for the first time in forever. I earn less than 30k than a year on a crap hourly job I just can't move up from. No degree even though I have a crap load of credits earned. Might be why I can't move up. I have roommates. I have no friends or relationships outside of my dad. Didn't start bothering me until a few days ago. The list goes on. I grew up in South Florida during the beginning of the opioid craziness. From 2006, 2011 things got pretty bad. I'm 2011 I sold my last possession, my car for $800, packed 2 suitcases, and bought a bus ticket to Denver. Never been to Denver, didn't know anyone there, but weed was starting to be legal, and I didn't want to miss out. I detoxed on the bus going from Florida to Colorado. Do not recommend. I got lucky and ended up sitting next to a guy that was a grower and needed help in his garden. I didn't know it at the time, but on the Greyhound he said I had an 8-hour job interview. Got to Denver and he really helped me get established. Within 2 months I was sleeping on his couch and learning how to grow. Haven't touched a painkiller since I got on that bus almost 9.5 years ago, and now I'm married, homeowner, decent car, and working my dream job in the cannabis industry. It's not for everyone, but I literally went from homeless sticking needles in my arm to living a life better than I could have ever imagined. When you said lucky for you the guy next to you was a grower, I thought this story was going somewhere else. Realized my quest to find love wouldn't fix anything wrong with me. Stopped manipulating and using men to try to fill the void in my soul. Treated men like people instead of tools. Actually fell in love and am married to the most wonderful person I've ever met. I grew up believing that getting married and marrying the right man was the greatest thing I could achieve for my life. As a woman, my ambitions were for my future husband's career and for the children I would have with him. Therefore I threw myself into relationships, erasing my personality to land the guy that checked all the boxes. Surprise, surprise, none of those relationships worked out. Finally realized I hadn't been happy in any of them and decided to just be happy with myself. Fell into a relationship naturally a year later and have been together for 10+ years. Did something similar. However, we knew each other for 15 years and didn't do anything about it. The moment we found out the feelings, it's just been one step after another, and I'm so happy. This is the one. I got injured in a car accident, rear-ended, lost my business, and my wife of 19 years eventually left for another man, leaving behind a 17-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son. No job, no car, no money, 2 kids, and $2K a month in rent coming due. 2 days after she left, I took my real estate license test. I passed. I had planned to surprise her, but had hid that I was studying in case I failed. Either way, it wasn't enough, and I ended up taking a job at Amazon. I worked a graveyard shift while my daughter stayed home with my son. I also did open houses on the weekend in hopes someone would walk in unrepresented. It still wasn't enough, so I signed up to drive Uber and Lyft. I had been able to pick up a decent vehicle from a family member for cheap, and I was in business. I switched my graveyard shift to a day shift and started driving through the nights. The money was alright, but I realized I could make a little more if I switched from Amazon to another large company in the area, so I did. I did that for about a year. Things were okay, I was making good money, and then Coldwell Banker fired me. I didn't think Coldwell fired anyone, as long as they were paying their dues. I had never sold a house, so all it meant was I needed to switch to another broker. Turns out that was a blessing in disguise. A friend called on my way to sign with Keller Williams and convinced me to sign with a temp agency. I was skeptical, but what did I have to lose? The first and second day I was placed with Toll Brothers. It was alright, and I could see myself doing that. On the third day I was sent to a local developer and my world was changed. The broker of record and the local developer took me under their wing. After a few months they hired me away from my temp broker, gave me a salary and commissions, and provided me with an opportunity to change my kids' lives forever. I was able to go from working 4 jobs to just 1, and I have learned more about myself than I could have ever imagined possible. It's been 3.5 long years, but I wouldn't change a thing if I could. I just got hired at Amazon. I'm also here turning my life around and trying to gain financial independence from my parents. So far so good. Days are long, but I'm here doing it. Not gloating, relating. Glad everything worked out for you too. If it's any help, your response didn't sound gloaty at all. Quit my job. In 2010 my job moved to a different city and I had to follow because the money was good, or so I thought. 12-hour swing shifts with 90-minute ride each way. Town was a total crap hole. Rents were crazy expensive if you didn't want to live in the hood. Ended up working for net zero after bills and expenses, child support, living in an apartment with no furniture. After 2 years I had enough. Learned to day trade, put my savings into it, doubled it. In a bull market everyone's a genius. Now that my kids are out of college, my bills are absurdly low. Learned to live cheap. Inherited a house, sold it. Now my investments are under professional management. Drove a forklift for a while. Cool gig. I know people don't like to hear this, but money is important. If your debt to income (DTI) ratio is 100%, it doesn't matter if you're earning $500K or working in the food court, you're still broke. People would say I wish I had those problems, but you really don't. But if you're earning $5K a month, $60K/E before tax, and your bills are only $1K a month, you're doing better than the $500K guy who is struggling to afford his lavish house and unnecessary cars. He looks like a baller, but trust me, he's losing sleep. If that job goes kaflooey, he's fricked. Presently, I could throw a dart at the map and go live there, provided it's a second-tier city with low taxes. Learn to cook. Don't buy extravagant cars. I haven't gone on vacation in 5 years because I'm on permanent vacation. All that crap adds up, and if I spend like a fool I'll have to go back to working somewhere to earn money to pay on crap I don't care to own. More importantly, being chained to a clock and selling my remaining hours, which are finite. Or, one morning I can just get up and call the realtor and put my place on the market and drive to Idaho or Salt Lake or Santa Fe and look for something else. That's the best happiness I ever found. Being unchained from any responsibilities and having realistic expectations for basic comforts. My ex-wife and her current husband spend way over $100k a year trying to afford a admittedly nice house, and they're freaking miserable, always cash broke, but trying to afford more crap, like expensive vacations, bird baths and little windmills for the yard, so they can brag to their co-workers how well they're doing. Then collapse on the couch and wait for the next workday and do it all over again in jobs they hate, 270 days a year. He's still gonna be paying on that house till he's 80. Frick that. One of the best things that ever happened to me was when my life turned to crap. The only true freedom that you find is when you realize and come to terms with the fact that you are completely and unapologetically fricked, and then you are free to float around the system. Doubst and hope. I have no debt, but also no credit. Finally ordered a secured credit card through my bank the other day. I currently have 5 figures in my checking account, even though I earn less than 30k a year, because I live dirt cheap. I truly don't know what this means. I feel like a failure, but judging by your post I have it made. People will always focus on the credit, you know those convos. Just keep doing what you're doing, and avoid big mistakes. No DUIs, no pregnancies. Work out when you can. Keep your eyes open for better jobs. Run your car till the wheels fall off, and look for the next one for cash. Getting some 48-month loan seems easy, but you need full crash insurance too, so there are hidden monies in cars. Some guy out there wants to sell you his old Accord with good maintenance for $2k. Let someone else waste their efforts on a Mustang for $25k. He's a fool. I'm telling you, I love cars, and I can afford something nice, but I won't. My sneakers are 4 years old. The only thing I won't buy used is furniture. When I see some kid driving a sick ride, and he earns probably $30k, and I could buy 10 of them for cash, I just laugh, and keep on rolling in my 2011 Subaru, that will be running till 2030. You're doing fine. I won't say I turned my life around, but this is my story. I had a rather eventful childhood which ultimately led to me living on my own at 17. I worked 60 hours week including an overpass shift at a grocery store stocking shelves while I got an associate's degree, and then only 40 hours week while I got my bachelor's. I got a job straight after college, and a year after that I was pretty burnt out and depressed and angry and basically an overall mess. I was smoking weed and drinking a lot. I had a degree in accounting and was going to take the CPA exam. The thing is that I didn't want to study. I would come home after work, not study, and then be angry with myself that I wasn't studying. I felt stuck because I wasn't making any progress but wasn't doing anything to make progress. This went on for about a year. Not study, not enjoy my time, because I felt like I should be studying, not make progress either, be unhappy. Finally, I realized I had 2 options. I could study. It would really suck, because it was take me a year of studying daily, and I was still exhausted from my college experience. But then I could accomplish this, make more money, earn more respect, get more promotions, and move on to something else. I could not study. I wouldn't have to spend a year of my life studying for something I didn't know if I could accomplish. I would make an acceptable amount of money, but I couldn't complain when I lost out on promotions. I couldn't complain if I didn't earn the respect. Life would be fine. It's not like I would be a piece of crap for not becoming a CPA. I just couldn't complain when I didn't receive certain things. Life would be fine though. Whatever I choose is fine, but I have to live with the outcome. I do this now every time I make a choice. If I don't want to go to the gym, that's fine. I just can't complain when my body doesn't look the way I want it to look. I can't complain when a fit guy gets more attention from women. I can't complain when I'm not healthier and I'm more likely to deal with health issues. Again, it's 100% okay not to be at the gym, I just can't complain. Sometimes I don't go, but I don't feel guilty anymore because I made the choice not to. Good, I don't beat myself up because I made the choice after considering the consequence. Usually, this thought process leads to me to go. If you don't want to go to college or learn a skill, that's fine. Plenty of high quality people are uneducated or earning a low wage. Not going doesn't make you bad person. But don't complain when you're less likely to earn a higher wage. If you don't want to stop smoking weed, that's fine. Plenty of nice people smoke weed. But don't complain when you get nothing accomplished because you're stoned all the time. As long as you're not hurting someone else, whatever you want is fine as long as you can live with the outcome. I don't know what bad choices you're making, but if you keep making them, don't complain when you hate your life enough to have to post how did you turn your life around. People always criticize this advice because it's basically just decide who you're going to be, but I'm living proof that it's possible. I was going to do something bad to myself until I figured out how to do this. Nobody is saying you need to have a certain relationship, live a certain lifestyle, eat a certain way, drink a certain way, have a certain job. Whatever choice you make is fine, as long as you're okay with the outcome. Action X leads to outcome Y. You know what will happen if you continue to take action X soul love with Y. This should be upvoted much more than it is. Of everything I've read on this sub, this is the best advice. Cause and effect. It's that simple. As my mom once said, if you burn your ass you get to sit on the blisters. They're yours and yours alone. I was working terrible dead-end jobs when I was a web developer. Basically high turnover customer service roles that had little tiny shreds of web related trash mixed in. I had been just stuck in a rut of thinking I wasn't good enough for real developer work for my entire career. Had a family member get a job at Disney one year and I'd regularly visit and they'd get me into Disney for free. I fell in love with the Disney parks. When the family member quit their Disney job about a year later, the family went on a final free trip and I had this overwhelming reaction of oh my god, I'll never be able to come back. On the flight home, something in my brain just snapped and I suddenly had clarity past my anxiety and depression. I had a goal and hope for the first time in my life. I would return to Disney. I got home and immediately started applying to jobs, scoring a job as an actual developer that gave me a 50% raise in about a month. I returned to Disney from money out of my own pocket that following February and everything just fell into place. I finally set a goal for myself and achieved it. I had a brand new outlook on my own potential and have had self-confidence and the ability to set and achieve goals ever since. A year after I scored that developer job, I moved on to become a senior developer, making more than double what I had been making, and have continued to exceed expectations in this job ever since. All because I'm motivated by the want to regularly travel to Disney World.